After Ingrid hung up, Sean asked, "What did Rick say?" Ingrid snorted and scolded in a high-pitched voice, "What else can Rick say? How could Rick take Joanna's son away? Joanna failed to take after her son, and now she's slandering Rick like a mad dog. What AB********H. It would be great if Joanna's son had been kidnapped. Oh, right. I heard that some people specialize in kidnapping children. Those traffickers would deliberately steal children, throw them out on the street, and ask them to beg for money. Haha. It would be great if Joanna's and son was taken away by those traffickers." Sean frowned and said, "You are being vicious. Joanne is my daughter, and her child is my grandson. How can you curse Irwin like that? Oh, Joanna is your daughter. Then how about Roxy? Roxy would have not become what she is today if it wasn't because of Joanna. And now you're still defending Joanna." Sean said, "I'm not defending Joanna." Without waiting for Sean to finish, Ingrid waved her hand and said impatiently, "Never mind. I don't want to argue with you. I'm going out to play poker." As she spoke, Ingrid went upstairs to get her handbag and was about to leave. Sean complained, "All you do every day is play poker. How much money did you lose in playing poker?" Ingrid would tell Sean she had lost money in poker after she secretly gave the money to her two cousins and failed to make the accounting right. Actually, Ingrid used all the money to support her two cousins. However, Ingrid's cousins did not take the money without doing anything. They would do their best to serve Ingrid. After seeing her cousins, Ingrid would feel really good. Ingrid said, "I'll know when I've had enough. Don't be so annoying." When speaking, Ingrid took her bag and left. Today, Ingrid had asked her two cousins out to negotiate. Each of Ingrid's cousins had asked Ingrid for $2 million. Ingrid delayed it for so long that her cousins almost lost patience. Ingrid hated her two cousins deeply now. She finally realized what her cousins really wanted and was not going to continue the relationship with them. Unfortunately, Ingrid's cousins had recorded many videos of them playing poker together. Sitting in the photography studio and considering for a while, Joanna decided to call the police. Joanna said, "I can't wait any longer. I'm calling the police now." Jaden replied, "We can't call the police now because we don't have any evidence. Even if the police arrest Derek, if there's no evidence, they'll just keep Derek up for 24 hours at most. Then Derek will be free again." Joanna and Jaden were still figuring out a plan. Bruce thought for a moment. Then he took out his phone to call Derek. Beep, beep beep. Chapter 121. Derek's phone rang. He immediately picked up after he saw that it was Bruce. "Hi, Bruce," said Derek. "Ads by Pub Future." Bruce frowned and asked, "Where are you?" Derek answered, "Oh, I'm outside." "What's the matter, Bruce?" Roxanne and Bruce had not gotten married yet, but Derek and Ryan had already treated Bruce as a family member and called Bruce by his first name. "I'm looking for you. Where are you?" Bruce's tone was cold. "Right now?" asked Derek. "Yes," said Bruce. Derek said, "Well, I'm afraid I don't have time now. Maybe later." Derek had just sent another bag to that barely known star, and now he was dating her. Bruce replied, "No. Where are you now? I'll send a driver to pick you up." Derek said, "Bruce, I'm really sorry. Honestly, I don't have time to see you now. How about another day? I'll buy you lunch." "Another day. I gotta go." Then Derek hurriedly hung up the phone. Noticing Bruce's tone was bad, Derek knew Bruce would probably not give him something good if he went to see Bruce. Besides, Derek was guilty and did not dare to see Bruce. The girl asked curiously, "Who's that?" Derek replied, "Hey, nothing. It's just my brother-in-law." The girl's eyes lit up. She said, "Your brother-in-law? Isn't that Mr. Everett?" Derek straightened his back proudly and replied, "Exactly. Why did Mr. Everett call you?" "Nothing. Oh, by the way, I saw Bruce had a great car in his garage days ago. I'll ask my sister to drive it out another day and give it to you. Hearing this, the girl became ecstatic and cried, really? Babe, when have I ever lied to you? My brother-in-law is Bruce Everett, the richest man in Greyport. You live a wonderful life. If you agree to be mine. After that, Derek took that girl to bed. 20 minutes later, boom, someone kicked the door open when Derek and the girl were busy in bed. About 8 muscular men in black barged in without explaining. Derek and the girl were so frightened that they hurriedly covered themselves with the blanket. Derek asked, "Who are you? What do you want? Get up and come with us." Derek took a closer look at the leader of the men in black and recognized that man was Bruce's bodyguard. Then Derek sighed in relief and asked, "Did Bruce send you? Cut the crap and come with us." Those burly men did not let Derek ask any questions and dragged Derek down from the bed. Derek was in a terrible state, shouting, "Wait, wait. At least let me put on my pants." Chapter 121. Soon, Derek was brought to the studio. He was disheveled and only wore a pair of pants. "Mr. Everett, we've got Derek here." When Joanna saw Derek, she became even more agitated. Joanna asked, "Derek, did you take my son away?" When speaking, Joanna pounced on Derek. She looked like a lunatic. Derek sneered. Then he looked at Joanna arrogantly and said, "Are you crazy? Why would I take away your son?" Joanna retorted, "It must be you. I checked the surveillance and found that you showed up at the photography studio in the morning. No one has a reason to take my son except you. Tell me where my son is now. If you don't, I'll call the police." Derek said, "Go ahead. Anyway, I don't know where your son is. I've never seen him before either." Derek looked like he was not afraid of anything. Derek thought, there are no surveillance cameras in the photography studio, and no one has seen me take that kid away. Besides, I have a compelling alibi. Even if the police interrogate me, they won't get anything out of me. Joanna continued, "Tell me where my son is. I am begging you. Please don't hurt my son." Derek deliberately said, "What? Are you begging me now?" It's hard to believe. Seeing Joanna's breakdown, Derek became even more arrogant and felt extremely joyful. Joanna cried even harder after realizing she could not get anything out of Derek. Bruce was sitting on a stool at the side and smoking a cigarette. His expression was terrible. Derek glanced at Bruce and obsequiously said, "Hey, Bruce. What's the matter? Why are you looking for me so urgently? Could it be this crap?" Bruce did not answer. Instead, Bruce tilted his chin slightly at the bodyguards. 2 bodyguards immediately understood Bruce's indication. A bodyguard grabbed Derek's head and stuffed it into the toilet bowl. Then another bodyguard pressed the flush button. Ugh! Derek coughed violently. He was almost choked to death on the water and disgusted by the smell of the toilet bowl. Whoosh! Whoosh! The bodyguard pressed the flush switch over 10 times in a row. When seeing Derek was about to drown, Bruce waved his hand slightly to ask the bodyguard to stop. The bodyguard immediately pulled Derek out of the toilet bowl and threw him at Bruce's feet. Derek kept coughing. Then he asked, "Bruce, what are you doing?" "Oh, oh." Derek was so scared that he was shaking. Bruce's eyes were sharp when he glanced at Derek. Bruce did not show any mercy just because Derek was Roxanne's younger brother. "Now tell me the truth," warned Bruce. Derek pretended to know nothing and asked, "What? What truth? What are you talking about? Where did you take Joanna's son?" Bruce's tone was not loud, but it had a terrifying power. It was as if an ancient emperor was issuing an imperial edict. Derek denied, I really don't know. How would I know where Joanna's son is?" Bruce lit another cigarette after seeing that Derek was unwilling to tell the truth. After taking a drag of the cigarette, Bruce put it on Derek's shoulder. Chapter 121. Sizzle. Then a smell of roasted meat wafted out. 69%. Ah, Ah! Derek's shouting immediately spread throughout the photography studio. Derek howled in pain and rolled on the ground in pain. He could not believe that Bruce would leave no room for negotiation. Bruce replied gloomily, "Tell me, where did you take Joanna's son?" Bruce did not want to waste any time on Derek. A bodyguard also warned, "Hurry up and tell the truth. Then you don't have to suffer so much. Otherwise, you can't even walk out of here alive." The bodyguard was right. It would be a piece of cake if Bruce wanted someone to disappear from the world. Moreover, Bruce did not even need to do anything by himself. He would not let the police have any evidence either. "Bruce, aren't we a family?" cried Derek. Bruce said, "You're not going to tell me, are you?" Derek shouted, "Bruce, I swear I don't know. Why do you assume it's me?" Bruce raised his eyebrows and said, "Are you still not going to say it?" Derek covered his scalded arm and hesitated for a while. 369. Then Derek replied, "Bruce, I don't know where Joanna's son is." "Ha ha ha." Bruce laughed sinisterly. Bruce said, "I didn't even tell you which child Joanna lost. How did you know Joanna's son but not her daughter was missing?" Hearing this, Derek paused and realized he had given himself away. Everyone only asked Derek if he had seen Joanna's child. No one had told Derek if it was a boy or a girl. Derek looked around nervously and stammered, "Bruce, I'm just guessing." Bruce said, "It looks like I should push you harder." When speaking, Bruce gestured to his bodyguards. Immediately, 4 bodyguards stepped forward. They took Derek down, grabbed his ankles, and turned him upside down. Then, they stuffed Derek into the toilet bowl again. A bodyguard kept pressing the flush button. The water kept rushing into Derek's nose. Derek could not breathe this time. He could not even struggle. Water flowed into Derek's nose and throat. Ugh, ugh. Derek kept coughing. Derek twisted his body and tried to struggle. Unfortunately, Bruce's bodyguards were all 1 in a million combat experts. Dealing with Derek was a piece of cake for those bodyguards. Derek's body fell straight into the toilet bowl, and his head was tightly stuck in it. At this moment, Derek was in fear of drowning. Derek had never been tortured like this in his life. Bruce asked, "How about that? Can you tell me the truth now?" Seeing that Derek was getting weaker and weaker, Bruce finally asked his bodyguards to let Derek down. Phew. Ugh. Ugh. Derek kept coughing and rolling his eyes. One of his teeth was knocked out. Derek looked miserable and pitiful, with his nose and mouth kept bleeding. Joanna could not face such brutality and turned around to avoid watching the scene. Joanna thought, "We just suspect it may be Derek and have no evidence to confirm it." Bruce is ruthless to torture Derek like that. Ads by Pub Future. Therefore, Joanna said, "Bruce, stop torturing Derek." However, Bruce ignored Joanna and continued to interrogate Derek. "Where is the child? This is your last chance. You know I always keep my word. If you don't say it, I won't ask them to stop next round." Bruce had a feeling that Derek had taken away the child. Moreover, if Bruce wanted an answer from a person, he would definitely get it. Chapter 122. The Child. The Child. Derek rolled his eyes a few times, and his face turned red. Bruce threatened, "Where is the child? I'll count to 3. If you don't answer me, I'll get some loot, throw you into the sea to feed the sharks." Many gangs in Greeport often brought their enemies to the open sea. Then, they tied their enemies up tightly and threw them into the sea. Many rich people would spend money to hire those gangs. After taking the money, those gangs would finish their job without leaving any evidence. Bruce slowly counted down, 1. Derek was so frightened that his heart was beating faster. He looked at Bruce in fear. Derek tried to save the situation and shouted, "Bruce, don't forget you are engaged to my sister." Bruce ignored Derek's shouting and continued, 2. "Bruce, I swear I don't know." 3. After counting to 3, Bruce stood up and snapped his fingers at the bodyguards. The bodyguards immediately understood Bruce's indication and took out a black plastic bag. They were going to put it on Derek's head. Realizing Bruce was serious, Derek was so scared that he peed his pants. Derek stammered, I'll tell you. Hearing this, Joanna came back to herself and asked, "Where is my child?" Derek looked terrified and stammered, "Your child is in the cistern on the roof." Boom! These words were like a clap of thunder to Joanna. After hearing what Derek said, Joanna gasped, and her feet were so weak that she almost fell. "Go to the roof." Then Joanna pulled herself together and ran toward the stairs. Bruce, Jaden, and the bodyguards also ran toward the roof. The photography studio had 3 floors and a cistern on the roof. It was hard to imagine what would happen if a 4-year-old child was thrown into a cistern. Soon, they reached the roof. Then they found a 10-foot tall cistern with a diameter of about 5 feet. Irwin. Joanna crawled up the ladder of the cistern like a mad woman. This ladder had no handrails and looked very dangerous. However, Joanna did not care if it was dangerous now. Bruce was one step ahead. He grabbed Joanna's wrist and dragged her down, saying, "Joanna, it's dangerous up there. Come down. I'll ask my bodyguards to get there." Then, 4 bodyguards rushed over and climbed up the ladder. Then, they lifted the lid of the cistern. 10-43. ODL 24. Chapter 122. Once they opened the lid, they found a large cistern. It was dark down there. "Mr. Everett, we can't see anything inside. Jump down and look for the child," ordered Bruce. "Yes, Mr. Everett." Plop, plop. 2 bodyguards directly jumped down the cistern. Joanna was so nervous that she did not even dare to look at the cistern. Joanna worried that they would only find Irwin's cold body. Bruce hugged Joanna tightly and could not stop Joanna from shaking violently. He comforted, "It's okay. Your child will be fine." After comforting Joanna, Bruce hugged her even tighter. At this moment, Bruce was also getting nervous and prayed for Joanna's child. The cistern was 10 feet tall. Half of it was filled with water. By percent. Not to mention a child, an adult may not survive if he was thrown down in that cistern. A bodyguard jumped in and looked around inside. Then the bodyguard found a little boy beside a water pipe. At this moment, Irwin tightly grabbed the water pipe and kept bobbing up and down in the water. Irwin was almost unconscious. Seeing someone jump down, Irwin thought it was his illusion and did not even have the strength to cry for help. I found him. I found a boy here." The bodyguard hurriedly went forward and wanted to carry Irwin. The bodyguard shouted, "Put down a ladder now. The child is still alive." Hearing this, Bruce finally sighed in relief and said, "Joanna, did you hear that? Your child is still alive." Joanna was so emotional after hearing the exciting news that she could not take it and fell. Bruce hugged Joanna tightly. Then Joanna buried her head in Bruce's arms and could not help crying. Jaden watched Bruce and Joanna from the side and suddenly felt upset. Jaden murmured, "Yeah, they are a family of 3 while I'm just an outsider." Soon, the bodyguards outside the cistern found a flexible ladder and put it down. The bodyguard comforted Irwin, "Kid, let go of the water pipe. I'm going to get you out of here." Sadly, Irwin was so frightened that he tightly grabbed the water pipe, unwilling to let go. The bodyguard had no choice but to pull open Irwin's little hand. Then he carried Irwin up. 3 hours ago, Derek covered Irwin's mouth and nose, and Irwin fainted. Then, he put Irwin into a trash bag and lifted Irwin to the roof. After that, Derek threw Irwin into the cistern. After sinking into the water, Irwin felt the coldness from the water and woke up. Fortunately, Joanna had sent Devian and Irwin to learn how to swim since they were young. Therefore, Irwin quickly surfaced. After sinking into the water, however, Irwin was just a child and did not have good stamina. Irwin had been grabbing the water pipe for 3 hours. After working for a while, the bodyguards finally rescued Irwin. Here he is. He's out. Irwin. Joanna immediately rushed forward as if she was on steroids. Irwin's body was wet, and his face was pale. He widened his eyes in fear as if he was too shocked to speak. Irwin, it's Mommy. Joanna quickly pulled Irwin into her arms and hugged Irwin as she wailed. Mommy. Irwin was stunned and scared. After a while, he burst into tears. Earlier in the cistern, Irwin relied on his willpower to hold on for 3 hours in the water. He knew he was safe since he saw his Mommy. Thus, Irwin cried in grievance and fear. Irwin, baby, it's alright. It's all Mommy's fault. I'm so sorry, said Joanna. Seeing Joanna cry like this, Bruce's heart ached. Bruce also got teary eyes as if he could feel Joanna's pain. Then Bruce could not help hugging Joanna and Irwin tightly. Bruce said, Irwin is weak now. Hurry up and send him to the hospital. Right. I need to go to the hospital. Joanna hurriedly carried Irwin and walked toward the stairs. Irwin was cold. He must be sent to the hospital now. At this moment, Joanna could not be bothered to blame Derek. A group of people rushed to the hospital. 20 minutes later, Bruce, Joanna, and the others took Irwin to the hospital. Joanna said, Doctor, please save my child. Soon, Irwin was sent to an emergency room. Irwin was greatly frightened to death. Fortunately, his life was not in danger. On the contrary, Joanna could not hold on any longer. She closed her eyes and fell. Bruce cried, Joanna, are you okay? Then he caught Joanna and asked a doctor to come over. Sat. 24. Chapter 123. Within a minute, Joanna was also sent to an emergency room. Bruce's heart was beating faster. He paced anxiously outside the emergency room. After a while, the doctor finished the examination for Joanna and walked out of the emergency room. Then Joanna was taken out by the nurses. Bruce asked, Doctor, is everything okay with Joanna? She kept trembling uncontrollably just now. The doctor answered, Oh, no worries. Joanna just suffers from hypoglycemia, coupled with the sequelae caused by overdosing on sertraline. Sertraline. What's that? Asked Bruce. The doctor frowned and replied, That depends on the prescription. Most women take it to treat depression. Hearing the doctor's answer, Bruce frowned tightly. He thought, if so, does Joanna have a severe depression? But how is that possible? Joanna is such a strong woman. How come she has depression? The doctor said, Now we are sending Joanna to a ward and giving her 2 bottles of glucose IV. She may need a long time to recover since her hypoglycemia is severe. I understand, said Bruce. Joanna was taken into a ward with glucose IV dripping into her arm. Ads by Pub Future. Looking at Joanna's pale face, Bruce could not help touching Joanna's cheek. Before a bottle of glucose IV was finished, Joanna woke up from her sleep. Irwin. Hiss. Joanna woke up too fast and accidentally touched the needle. It was so painful that she immediately became conscious. Seeing this, Bruce immediately went forward to hold Joanna down and said, Don't get up. Lie back. Look at how weak you are. Joanna could not lie down and sleep well. She threw the pillow away and said, I'm going to see my son. How's my son? When speaking, Joanna already got off the bed. It seemed that she did not care about anything but her son. Joanna did not even remember to put on her shoes and hurriedly ran toward Irwin's ward. Your son is fine now. He's just frightened, said Bruce. No, I need to check Irwin by myself. Bruce could not stop Joanna, so he could only bring her to see Irwin. Irwin was sleeping soundly on a bed in the ward with an IV dripping in his arm. Irwin was unconscious, but luckily, his life was not in danger. Irwin, it's all Mommy's fault. Joanna pounced on the bed and gently held Irwin's hand. Tears ran down Joanna's face. Joanna could not imagine what she would do if Irwin died. Bruce gently hugged Joanna's shoulder and comforted her. Joanna, don't cry. Irwin is safe now. As Joanna cried, she suddenly thought of something. Then she suddenly raised her head and looked at Bruce with bloodshot eyes. Joanna asked, where's that bastard Derek? I must kill him. Bruce replied, Derek's in the photography studio. I've got people to keep an eye on him. 10:43 Saturday, 24. Chapter 123. Joanna instantly gritted her teeth in hatred. Her entire body was trembling. Joanna murmured, this crazy bastard. I will definitely make Derek pay the price. Joanna thought, it's okay if they hurt me. However, if they hurt my children, I will fight them to death. Ingrid was still negotiating with her two cousins. Today, Ingrid's two cousins finally showed who they really were. They forced Ingrid to take her clothes off and took many indecent photos of her. Then, they played all kinds of games with Ingrid. They kept making it rough for Ingrid. Moreover, they did not care about Ingrid and only cared about their pleasure. Ingrid used to like these exciting games. However, ever since each of her two cousins asked Ingrid for $2 million to keep their mouths shut, Ingrid could not enjoy the moments with them anymore. After the negotiations, Ingrid could not even stand straight. Her lower abdomen hurt terribly. Just as Ingrid was about to go home, her phone rang. Beep, beep, beep. Ingrid took out her phone and saw that there were several missed calls. Oddly, they were from an unknown number. Ingrid picked up the phone and asked, hello, who is it? An anxious female voice came from the other end of the phone, Mrs. Haynes, has Derek gone home yet? Ingrid hated it when people spoke to her without introducing themselves. Thus, Ingrid immediately pulled a long face and asked, who are you? Why don't you introduce yourself first? Oh, I am Derek's girlfriend. When Ingrid heard this, Sty said in a softer tone, oh, you're that Star, Mrs. Haynes. When I was with Derek, a few men in black suddenly took Derek away. I didn't know what to do, so I am calling you. Now, hearing this, Ingrid frowned and asked, what? Some men in black took Derek away. Who are they? The girl cried over the phone, I don't know. They said Mr. Everett sent them. In a word, they're fierce. Derek hasn't called me back until now. I'm afraid that something will happen to him. All I can do is to call you, but I couldn't get through your phone for a long time. Ingrid's body went cold, and she felt a premonition of something horrible. Then Ingrid replied, oh, okay. I got it. After hanging up the phone, Ingrid hurried to the garage. She ignored the pain in her legs and lower abdomen and called Sean. As she walked, after the phone went through, Ingrid said anxiously, hi, hubby. Sean asked, what? Have you lost all your money? Ingrid replied, no. Is Rick home? Sean answered, no, Rick's not home. When Ingrid found out her son was not home, her heart beat faster. Ingrid said, someone just called me and told me that Bruce had taken Rick away. Bruce took Rick away. Why would Bruce do so? Ingrid replied, how would I know? Chapter 123. Hurry up. Get Roxy to call Bruce and ask him what's going on. Oh, on it. Roxanne listened from the side and felt nervous. Dad, what happened? Sean replied, your mother just called and said Bruce had taken Rick away. Hurry up and call Bruce. Ask him what's going on. When Roxanne heard this, she did not dare to waste time. Then she hurriedly called Bruce. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Bruce's phone vibrated. Bruce took a look at it. After seeing it was a call from Roxanne, he immediately hung up. After that, Roxanne called over 10 times. Bruce was annoyed and finally picked up, saying, yep. Bruce, did you take my brother away? What about it? Bruce's voice was cold. Roxanne could tell Bruce was in a bad mood from his tone. Thus, Roxanne asked carefully, why did you take Rick away? Did he make you angry? Rick didn't mess with me, said Bruce. Oh, that's good. Where is Rick now? Rick's with me. Roxanne asked. Then where are you? Bruce subconsciously glanced at Joanna as if he was asking for Joanna's opinion. Joanna gritted her teeth and did not say a word. Thus, Bruce replied, Rick's done something stupid. He'll probably be in jail for the rest of his life. Boom. On the other end of the phone, Roxanne felt like she had been struck by lightning. Roxanne could not believe what she had heard. Thus, Roxanne asked again, Bruce, what did you just say? Bruce said, enough. I'm hanging up now. Bruce did not answer Roxanne and directly hung up the phone. Soon, Derek was brought to the hospital's underground parking lot. At this moment, Derek was still only in his pants and was tied to a stool. Derek looked terrible with his swollen face. Joanne, I've brought you Derek. Pong. Joanna stepped forward and kicked Derek's chest. Her eyes were full of anger. Plop. Derek fell along with the stool. The back of his head hit the ground heavily. Derek shouted, ah, help. Joanna was furious. Then she picked up a folding stool and smashed it at Derek crazily. Joanna shouted, you bastard. Why did you do that to a child? Why did you hurt my child like that? 10:43. Sul. 24 July. Chapter 123. B. Bruce said, you don't have to spend time saying all these to him. Derek is guilty of murder. Just send him to jail. He will be sentenced to 20 years. Soon, Ingrid, Sean, and Roxanne rushed to the hospital's underground parking lot. The three of them rushed over. When Ingrid saw Derek's miserable state, her heart ached. She said, oh, Rick, who beat you up like this? Then she yelled at the others, are you crazy? Joanna, you fucking bitch. How dare you kidnap my son? Joanna said, HMPH, I kidnapped Derek. Ask him what he has done. Sean felt nervous and quickly went forward, asking, Rick, what have you done? Derek was still tied to the stool. He was only wearing underpants and was very weak. Derek only said, Dad. Mom, please help me. Ingrid and Sean's faces changed. They began to suspect that Derek had kidnapped Joanna's stum until now. However, Ingrid was always unreasonable and would argue with anyone even though she did not have advantages. Thus, Ingrid would defend Derek even if Derek did something wrong. Ingrid shouted, you can't just do what you want to my son, no matter what happens. Who do you think you are? How dare you beat my son up like this? Ingrid shouted and untied her son, distressed. Roxanne gingerly shook Bruce's arm and said, Bruce, maybe this is just a misunderstanding. Derek is my younger brother. Why can't we talk things out? Why did you have to beat him up like this? Sean also complained, Joanne, Rick is also your younger brother. How can you beat your brother so badly? We're a family. Why can't we talk things out? Look at your brother. A sister should never do this to her brother. Joanna retorted, HMPH. Derek wouldn't have done such a crazy thing if he treated me as his sister. Why don't you ask Derek what he had done first? Sean frowned but still spoke arrogantly, as long as Ingrid and I are here, you don't have the qualification to teach Derek a lesson, no matter what he did. Hearing what Sean said, Joanna was speechless. Joanna did not want to continue the conversation with them. She thought, I knew it. Dad is always biased. Bruce sneered and said, your good son is charged with an intentional homicide. It should be enough to condemn him to death. Ads by Pub Future. When Ingrid heard this, her eyes widened. Then Ingrid retorted sternly, that's impossible. Who did Rick kill? This is a ridiculous slander to my son. Bruce replied, we don't make any slanders. You'll see when the police arrive. Hearing this, Ingrid lost a little of her aggressiveness and immediately asked Derek, Rick, what exactly have you done? Sean anxiously asked Derek, did you take Joanne's son? Derek lowered his head and did not dare to speak. It seemed that Derek admitted what he had done with his silence. Sean shouted, how could you be so stupid? How could you do such a thing? Joanne is your sister, and her son is your nephew. Where's the child? Give back the child to Joanne and beg her to forgive you. Derek stuttered, the child. Derek was dreadful because he thought that the child was drowned. Derek said, Dad, Mom, I was just hot-headed. It was a one-time lapse in judgment. I didn't do it on purpose. Sean suddenly raised his voice and shouted, What did you do to the child? Hearing Sean's shouting, Ingrid was so scared that she even had goosebumps. She said to Sean, Why are you yelling? You scared Rick. Ingrid said, Rick, tell me what exactly happened. Quote. Derek suddenly burst into tears. At this moment, Derek finally felt a lingering fear. He had committed the crime of intentional homicide and would probably be sentenced to death. A 69%. Chapter 124. Sean took several steps back and had a heart attack. Sean clutched his chest and said, Did you kill Joanne's child? Ingrid was dumbfounded. She hit Derek in exasperation and shouted, Derek, are you out of your mind? Roxanne was also terrified and cried, Rick, did you really kill Joanne's child? Bruce sneered and said, Derek threw Irwin into a cistern and almost killed Irwin. Ingrid murmured, almost killed Irwin. Ingrid and Sean were relieved when they heard that. Ingrid said, according to what you said, the child is fine, isn't he? Bruce replied, the doctor brought Irwin back to life. If we hadn't interrogated Derek about Irwin's whereabouts and found Irwin in time, Irwin would have drowned. Ingrid calmed herself down and quibbled, well, why do you have to hurt my son like this since the child is fine? I won't let you get away from it easily if something happens to my son. Knowing the child was fine, Sean gradually calmed down and said, Joanne, just let it go since your child is safe and sound. You have vented your anger by beating Rick up like this. So let's get over it. Joanna replied, Hey, get over it, Dad, that's easy for you. Do you know that Derek threw Irwin into a cistern, and Irwin stayed there for 3 hours? As speaking, Joanna could not help crying again and said, I can't even imagine how Irwin got through it. Joanna could not imagine how terrified Irwin was when he soaked in the water for 3 hours. Ingrid said, then what do you want? You also hurt my son. Shouldn't you compensate my son for medical expenses? Joanna, your son is still alive, isn't he? We didn't accuse you of harming my son. Why are you exactly doing here? Ingrid put her hands on her waist and glared at Joanna aggressively. Sean sighed deeply and said, get over it. Rick is immature. He just had a moment of madness. You are his sister and should take the lead to stop this fight. We'll bring Rick back home now. You probably should also take care of your son. Don't worry, I will teach Rick a lesson when we are home. Sean put it lightly to erase Derek's crime as if Derek had played a prank. Joanna sneered and replied, Derek committed a crime of intentional homicide. I've already called the police. I'll let the police take over this case. Ingrid said exasperatedly, hey, do you have to call the police for this? It's no big deal. Hearing Ingrid's words, Joanna was speechless and furious, retorting, no big deal. Wow, you are excellent at putting things lightly. Derek committed a crime of intentional homicide. Ingrid shouted, your son is alive, isn't he? This is a prank at best. How can you be like this, thinking of ways to send your brother to prison? Joanna didn't bother to continue the conversation with Ingrid. Thus, Joanna said, I don't want to continue to talk with you. Just wait for the police and let them judge. Did Derek play a prank or commit a crime? I'm sure the police will have their judgment. Joanna turned around and was about to leave after finishing her words. Joanna did not want to waste one more second on Ingrid and Derek. Don't you walk away from me, shouted Ingrid. Joanna replied, I don't want to talk with you. Realizing that Joanna was serious, Ingrid panicked. Roxanne was also anxious and said, intentional homicide. Derek will be charged as an attempted murderer even if he didn't kill anyone. If so, Derek will still be sentenced. Ingrid snorted coldly and replied, "No need to worry. How come this is intentional homicide? Joanna just intimidated us, so don't listen to her. It is a prank at best." When Sean heard Ingrid's words, Sean was so angry that he felt his heart even more painful. Then he raised his hand to slap Ingrid and shouted, "You are such an ignorant woman." Ingrid widened her eyes and wanted to launch a drama when Sean slapped her. However, looking at Sean's horrible face, Ingrid did not dare to say a word because she knew Sean was really angry. Ads by Pub Future. Derek shouted, "Mom, I don't want to go to jail. Please help me. I don't want to go to jail." Sean replied, "Why did you do such a****d thing back then since you know the price is going to jail? It's good for you to go to jail. For a few years. Maybe things in the jail will change you, so you won't do more bad things to destroy society's stability." Sean was so disappointed in his son for the first time. When Ingrid heard this, she was completely anxious and said, "Hubby, Rick's reputation will be ruined if he really has to go to jail. How can he continue his career in Greeport in the future?" Roxanne hurriedly held Joanna's arm and said, "Joanne, please forgive Rick this time. I believe Rick already learned a lesson." Joanna flung Roxanne's hand away and said coldly, "No way. If I forgive Derek this time, he will do it again. Derek has to accept the punishment by law for committing a crime." Roxanne said, "Derek is our brother, and we are a family. Do you have to make our relationship so bad?" Then Roxanne begged Bruce, say something to Joanne. Bruce frowned and said, "This is your family's business. I can't step in to persuade Joanna." Ingrid tugged at Sean's sleeve and begged, "Hubby, do you really want Rick to go to jail? His life will be ruined if he is sent to jail." Sean just said those words out of anger. Derek was Sean's favorite child. Thus, it was impossible that Sean would sit back and do nothing to save Derek. B. Chapter 125. Sean said, "Joanne, I apologize to you on behalf of Rick. After all, Rick is your brother. Do you really want him to go to jail?" Joanna sneered and replied, "Derek has never viewed me as his sister, so why should I view him as my younger brother? Also, your family. I'm just an outsider." Ingrid was so angry that her heart ached. She gritted her teeth and said, "Hubby, did you hear Joanna's words? She is ashamed of us after she got married. Joanna has long stopped treating herself as a member of the Haynes family. She either tricks Roxy or harms Rick. Joanna causes lots of trouble for us. If I were you, I would slap this ***h. Joanna was enraged and shouted, "Who are you calling a bitch? Considering you are a senior, I won't argue with you. Watch your mouth. I'll probably lose my manners. Be careful." Ingrid kept scolding, "Yeah. I'm calling you a bitch. You are the same as your dead mother." The more Ingrid scolded, the more excited she became. Years ago, Ingrid called Joanna's mother every other day to insult Joanna's mother. Joanna's mother could not take it and gave the title Mrs. Haynes to Ingrid. After that, Ingrid kept insulting Joanna's mother. Ingrid pretended to be a victim even though she was the homewrecker. Joanna could not bear it anymore. Slap. Joanna rushed forward and slapped Ingrid heavily on the face. "Watch your mouth," warned Joanna. Ingrid cried, "Hubby, did you see that? Joanna slapped me." Sean frowned and sighed, saying, "You deserve this. Even I want to slap you." Ingrid cried, "Hubby." Sean glared at Ingrid and shouted, "Shut up." Ingrid glared at Joanna and wanted to slap Joanna back. However, Ingrid thought of the last fight with Joanna. During that fight, Joanna pressed Ingrid on the ground and won the fight. Therefore, Ingrid did not dare to start a fight with Joanna and knew that she could not win. Moreover, Ingrid just had wonderful moments with her two cousins today. They were so wild that Ingrid's legs and lower abdomen were sore. It hurt terribly when Ingrid moved. Sean looked at Joanna solemnly and said gently, "Joanne, I am begging you. Please give Rick a chance so he can make everything right. Save these words for the police, said Joanna. Joanne, do you want me to kneel and beg you? Your brother is still young. Rick will be messed up if he goes to jail. Can't you give Rick a chance to turn over a new leaf? Joanna frowned and replied, Dad, these are two different things. Derek made a mistake, so he has to pay for it. Derek will only commit more crimes if you keep indulging him like this. Hearing Joanna's words, Ingrid flared up again and shouted, Did my son commit a crime? It's point up to you to judge. Sean warned Ingrid, Shut your mouth right now. Then Sean said, Joanne, just forgive Rick this time. I am begging you. If Rick goes to jail, how can he have a foothold in Greeport? Rick was in a moment of madness but learned his lesson. Please forgive him this time. I'm kneeling to beg you. Plop. As Sean spoke, he really knelt in front of Joanna. Joanna immediately said, Dad, get up. Don't do this. Joanna felt disgusted and quickly looked away to avoid looking at Sean. Sean continued, If you refuse to forgive Rick, I will keep kneeling. Then Sean was about to kneel in front of Joanna again. Joanna was annoyed and frustrated. Joanna immediately held Sean up and said, Dad, please. Stop it. Sean's eyes turned red, and tears rolled down his chubby cheeks. Sean said in a muffled voice, Joreen, Rick is your brother. You can't be so heartless as to send him to jail. When speaking, Sean held his chest and took a few deep breaths. It looked like Sean could not catch his breath. Ingrid shouted, Your father has a heart disease. Take out his pills. Hearing Ingrid's order, Roxanne replied, Got it. Got it. Then Roxanne hurriedly took out a bottle of pills from Sean's pocket. Roxanne put several pills into Sean's mouth. After that, Sean took a while to recover and finally could breathe again. Roxanne cried as she patted Sean's heart, Dad, how do you feel now? Joanna stood by the side nervously and asked, Dad, are you all right? Ingrid rebuked Joanna in a high-pitched voice, HMPH, your father has heart disease and high blood pressure. Are you trying to kill your father with your stubborn attitude and harsh words? Sean rolled his eyes and warned Ingrid, just keep silent. Ingrid snorted, HMPH. Sean took another deep breath and looked at Joanna pitifully, saying, Joanne. Joanna closed her eyes and let out a breath. Then Joanna interrupted Sean, Dad, enough. Stop talking. I can cut Derek some slack but I need a written guarantee from him. What guarantee? Asked Sean. Joanna replied, Derek needs to write down the entire process of his crime and sign the document. If Derek dares to hurt my son again, I'll give the evidence to the police. Sean paused for a few seconds. Then he agreed and said, Okay. I'll get Rick to write it now. Ads by Pub Future. Joanna continued, also, Derek needs to go to Irwin's bed and apologize to Irwin. No problem. Rick will do it, said Sean. Soon, Derek wrote a guarantee and went to Irwin's bed. Derek bowed and apologized to Irwin, saying, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Please forgive me. 10:43 Saturday. Chapter 126. Ingrid interrupted, Enough. Rick, you've completed it. Save some dignity. Rick, let's leave here. When speaking, Ingrid hurriedly went forward to hold Derek. Then Derek hobbled out of the ward. Derek was seriously injured but did not dare to stay in this hospital for treatment. Sean and Ingrid hurriedly brought Derek to another hospital. On the way to the hospital, Ingrid was in distress. She checked Derek's wounds and said, You are such a silly boy. Even if you wanted to do it, you didn't have to do it yourself. Look at you. You're so stupid. Then Ingrid suddenly cried, Oh my, who burnt you? You're scalded. Derek was angry and scared. He said with lingering fear, Who else could it be? It was that bastard Bruce Everett. He burnt me with his own hands. Bruce is not my brother-in-law. I don't want to see Bruce as a member of our family. I wouldn't have gone down like this if it was not because of Bruce. No one would know I did it. Ingrid cried, Mr. Everett. How could he do that to you? You are Mr. Everett's brother-in-law. No, I can't believe it. I'll ask Mr. Everett about that by myself one day. Does it hurt? Asked Ingrid. How can it not hurt? Replied Derek. Ingrid gritted her teeth and said, Oh, my sweetheart. My heart aches so much. It's all Joanna's fault. Don't worry, I'll avenge you. Hearing Ingrid's words, Sean was angrier and said, Enough, Ingrid. Stop saying such words. The reason why Rick did such a crazy thing is because you always spoil him. How am I spoiling Rick? Said Ingrid. Sean continued, You can't always protect Rick. If you keep spoiling Rick, you are turning him into a loser, and he will do more crazy things. Ingrid retorted, How am I spoiling Rick? In the end, it's all because of that bitch Joanna. Sean was so angry that his lips were trembling. Sadly, Sean had never won a fight with Ingrid. Sean said, You have been unaware of your mistake until now. You and your son are incurable. Ingrid retorted, HMPH. You are the incurable one. After finishing her words, Ingrid finally realized Roxanne was not in the car. Thus, Ingrid asked, Where's Roxy? Ingrid and Sean only focused on sending Derek to another hospital and did not even notice that Roxanne did not get into the car. Sean replied, Roxy probably is with Mr. Everett if she doesn't get in the car. Speaking of Bruce, Ingrid was furious. Ingrid said, Unbelievable. Bruce picked the side with an outsider. He's always on Joanna's side. Sean, that's all because of your good daughter Joanna. She's seducing Bruce. I think Bruce and Roxy's marriage is going to be ruined again. Sean replied, It would be better they don't get married since Mr. Everett's heart isn't on Roxy. Ingrid retorted, That's easy for you to say. Roxy will become a joke in Greenport if Roxy fails to get married to Bruce. Besides, Bruce is the richest man in Greenport. No one can compete with Bruce in Greenport. If we give up Bruce, can we find a better one for Roxy? 10:43, Saturday the 24th of June. Chapter 126. You can't measure a marriage like this, said Sean. Ingrid insisted, I don't care. Roxy must get married to Mr. Everett and become one of the Everemily. Sean sighed and said, Sadly, I can't win the fight with you. Sean looked away, still angry but not knowing what to say to Ingrid. In the hospital, Joanna stood beside Irwin's bed. She did not want to leave for a moment. Irwin was still in a coma. Irwin was frightened, and a doctor injected a sedative for him. Thus, Irwin was sleeping soundly. Joanna caressed Irwin's little face from time to time. Her eyes were filled with maternal love. Bruce also stood by the side and watched Joanna and Irwin silently. It had already been half an hour, and Joanna had not spoken a word to Bruce. Joanna only focused on looking at her son. This made Bruce upset. Bruce controlled himself for a while. Eventually, he couldn't help speaking first, Irwin is all right now. He'll recover after resting for a few days. Hearing this, Joanna looked up at Bruce. Then, Joanna lowered her eyes and stared at Irwin again. Bruce thought that Joanna was going to say something to him. Unfortunately, after waiting for a long time, Joanna was still silent. Bruce thought, I saved Joanna's son. I should be a hero. Why didn't Joanna say thank you? I'm pissed off at Joanna. She doesn't even thank me, even though I have saved her son. Then Bruce cleared his throat, asking, Do you have anything to say to me? Joanna was speechless, looking at Bruce in confusion. Bruce looked down at her from above. His hawk-like eyes seemed to be seeking credit. Joanna took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. She didn't want to say anything now, not a single word. Seeing she was still silent, Bruce pursed his lips proudly and walked toward Joanna from the opposite side of the bed. Without me, your son might have been dead. Shouldn't you express your gratitude? Facing Joanna, Bruce was extremely thick-skinned, as if everything was to be expected. Joanna took a deep look at Bruce and had mixed feelings. She was naturally grateful to him. However, after hearing what he said, the gratitude suddenly turned into ashes. Say something. Bruce stretched out and wrapped his arm around her shoulder. What do you want? Joanna's pupils constricted, revealing a faint sharpness. Judging from his expression, he probably wants me to compensate him with that again. Joanna thought. The last bit of good impression she had of him was ruined. Bruce sneered and pinched her chin. Look at your eyes. You look like you want to kill me. Damn woman, you don't have any conscience. You're crazy. Let go. Bruce pinched her chin even tighter and said, I saved your son. Aren't you going to thank me? Joanna struggled impatiently and slapped his hand away. Thank you. How's this? Is this enough? You're not sincere at all. Joanna rolled her eyes angrily. Didn't you want me to thank you? I've already said it. What else do you want? Bruce choked in anger. There's nothing else left. You can go back now. Kicking me to the curb after using me. You heartless woman. You need to be taught a lesson. The more you behave like this, the more I want to punish you. As he spoke, Bruce had already reached out and forcefully hugged her. Every time he faced her, his desire to conquer her grew crazily. He was never satisfied. Joanna struggled with all her might, but he continued to kiss her forcefully. This is a hospital. Don't do anything rash. The intensity of his kiss remained forceful, giving the woman a sense of being overpowered. His arms were incredibly sturdy, and she couldn't resist when he trapped her. When Joanna was almost out of breath, he stopped. He looked at her, who was weak all over, teasingly. Look at you. You can't stand it when I kiss you, right? Joanna took a deep breath and calmed herself down. She punched him a few times in exasperation. Can you stop touching me? 10:43 Saturday, 24. Chapter 127. Bruce raised his eyebrows slightly. The playfulness in his eyes intensified. If you don't love me, will you have such a big reaction? When Joanna heard this, she was speechless with anger. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. Ads by Pub Future. He was a tough man to handle, adept at pursuing women, and naturally in excellent physical shape. Any woman would not be able to take it, so. However, this did not mean she would give in to him psychologically. This was not love. Joanna took a few deep breaths and cursed, You're sick. Don't touch me again. Why? You're my woman. Why can't I touch you? I'm not your woman. If you weren't my woman, I wouldn't be so nice to you. Bruce, can you stop fooling around? Joanna's eyes instantly turned red again. You have completely changed your attitude. Just a while ago, you were begging me with tears streaming down your face and snot running all over. As soon as you're finished with me, you pushed me away. I'm forgiving and don't want to argue with you. When Joanna heard this, she gritted his teeth. This man has no shame in taking credit. She thought, all right. How do you want me to thank you? I don't want to owe you a favor either. You can make a request. Bruce chuckled. You're so stingy. I can only make one request. Yes. All right then. My request is for you to be my woman forever. Joanna tilted her head and rejected coldly, I can't do it. In that case, why do you tell me that I can make a request? Bruce smiled playfully. Bruce, my son is still lying on the hospital bed. I'm not in the mood to joke around with you. If you want to make a request, then do it. If not, please, get out now. This is a hospital. Can you be more serious? How am I not serious? I'm asking you to make a request. Joanna was so angry that her heart ached. She rolled her eyes speechlessly. Then hurry up, APD, mention it. As long as it's not too much. In any case, his request was nothing more than for her to accompany him. He had already forced her many times, so it didn't matter if she did it again. Joanna decided to go all out. She would accompany him for one night and repay his favor. Bruce guessed her thoughts and smiled teasingly. Then I'll make one. What do you want? Bruce paused on purpose. He moved his face close to her ear and gently teased her. 9. Chapter 127. Your skills aren't bad. I want you to perform well and make me happy. Before he could finish, Joanna said with a straight face, Bruce, you're disgusting. A shameless man like him only has such dirty thoughts. Joanna thought. She knew he would make such a dirty request. Forget it. This will be the last time. She exclaimed inwardly. The mocking smile on Bruce's lips intensified. He deliberately said, I haven't even said what I wanted. How is it disgusting? Don't you just want to sleep with me? I can spend the night with you, but not today. Hey, you make it sound like I want to sleep with you. My request is to make me a bowl of noodles. What are you thinking? Or do you want me to sleep with you? Quote. PFFT. Joanna's face instantly turned red. Smiling face, casual date is just a click away. The noodles you made for me last time are not bad. I want you to make me another bowl. Joanna's face was red as she looked at Bruce in surprise. Why? Is this request too much? It was not too much, but Joanna could not believe it. He was a difficult man to deal with, yet he only made such a request. There must be other conditions. That's it? Joanna asked in disbelief. Bruce shrugged. Can't I? Joanna immediately choked. She stared at his eyes, trying to see through his scheme. Bruce had a smile in the corner of his eyes as he looked at her teasingly. Then, he raised his eyebrows slightly and winked at her. Are you looking at me like that because you think your man is especially charming? PH. Joanna almost vomited blood, but she held it back in her chest. Bruce, can you stop being so narcissistic? Also, you're not my man. Don't make such jokes in the future. I don't like it when you make such jokes. Hey, here you go again. Why are you still pretending to be a fierce woman in front of me? You are annoying. Can you not behave like this? Bruce suddenly turned serious and stared at Joanna gloomily. Joanna, I am warning you one last time. You can only be my woman for the rest of your life. If you let another man touch you, I'll make you and your 3 children pay a painful price. Bruce, you. Joanna tried to retort. However, when the words reached her mouth, she swallowed them back resentfully. This man is stubborn and domineering. Who can resist what he wants to do? Joanna thought. It's useless to speak to him now. 10:44 Saturday, 24. Chapter 127. Did you hear that? You're sick. Bruce hooked his arm around her neck again and lifted her chin. He forced her to look into his eyes. Did you hear what I said? Joanna blew at him speechlessly. I'm not deaf. How can I not hear you? It's good that you heard me. You can only let me touch your body. So, can I ask you not to touch other women? Bruce raised an eyebrow. No, I can have other women, but you can only have me as a man. Hair. Joanna laughed in anger. If it weren't for the difference in their strength, she would have killed him with one punch. Now let go, please. What are you going to do? The dripper's finished. I'll call the nurse to change it. When Bruce heard this, he let go of her resentfully. Joanna headed towards the ward, planning to go to the nurse's desk to call for the nurse. Isn't there a pager on the bed? Can't you press it? I'm gonna go get some air. Okay. Fine. Go ahead. Send gift. Joanna rolled her eyes and opened the ward door. Outside the ward, Roxanne stood in a daze. She must have stood there for a long time as her face was filled with despair and grief. Joanna was shocked. She blurted out, "Why are you here?" Roxanne squeezed out a faint sneer, looking at Joanna coldly. "Why can't I be here?" "Then, go ahead," Joanna said, avoiding Roxanne and heading towards the corridor. "Stop right there." Roxanne's voice suddenly became shrill. Joanna turned around and her expression was extremely gloomy. She did not want to see anyone from the Haynes family at all. "What do you want?" Suddenly, Roxanne smiled miserably like an injured little white rabbit. "Why do you have to etch my boyfriend?" Roxanne questioned as she gasped. The bridge of her nose trembled like a pitiful, dehydrated goldfish. Roxanne Haynes, I'll repeat it once more. From the start to the end, I never thought of NG Bruce from you. But Bruce is my fiancé now. Do you really think it's appropriate for you to be involved with him like this? Roxanne's voice fluctuated between high and low, with a hint of breaking down. The patients and nurses who passed by all turned their heads to look at her. Bruce heard the commotion and hurried out of the ward. Roxy, what are you doing here? Roxanne blinked and tears rolled down her face. I'm here to see how loving my fiancé and my sister are. Bruce's expression darkened. He wanted to go forward and put his arm around her shoulder. I'll send you back first. I don't want to go back. Roxanne retreated. She looked at Bruce with tears streaming down her face as her neck swayed uncontrollably. Her pale and beautiful face was filled with hurt, grief, helplessness, and disbelief. She was the best at pretending to be weak and helpless. It was also because of this trick that Bruce could not bear to be cold to her. Stop fooling around. Bruce, can't you leave my sister? Why must you be with her? Bruce's face darkened. I'm telling you to stop fooling around. Roxanne took another step back and sniffed. If that's the case, I'll back out. Don't worry, I won't bother you again. Bruce looked at Roxanne in frustration. Her eyes were filled with despair and desolation, and there was even a hint of death. If he mentioned breaking up, she would definitely commit suicide again. Roxy, I've told you before that I agree to marry you, but I can't be faithful. If you're still willing to marry me, I'll hold the wedding. As scheduled. 10:44 Saturday the 24th of June. Chapter 175. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. Ads by Pub Future. I'm sorry if you can't accept it. When Roxanne heard this, she finally turned hysterical. But why did you have to choose my? There are so many women in Greyport. Why did you have to choose her? I'm hurt by you. I can't accept a third party in our relationship. I'll completely disappear and fulfill your wish. As Roxanne spoke, she turned around and ran out frantically. Roxy. Joanna looked at Bruce coldly. Hurry up and chase after her. Don't let her do anything stupid again. When Bruce heard this, he could not care less about Joanna and hurriedly chased after Roxanne. Roxy. Stop right there. Roxanne had only run a few steps when Bruce caught up to her. Bruce. I won't disturb the two of you anymore. What are you going to do? Bruce held her hand tightly. Roxanne struggled with all her might. She cried until she was out of breath. Quote, although she didn't say that she was about to commit suicide, her posture was already telling Bruce her intentions. The people around them stopped in their tracks. Isn't this Mr. Everett and Miss Roxanne? Why are they quarreling in a hospital? I heard that Miss Roxanne caught Miss Haynes getting involved with Mr. Everett again. Miss Haynes is already divorced. Yet, she's still pestering her ex-husband. Right. An ex-wife shouldn't continue to disrupt the other party's life. Miss Haynes is a terrible woman. You can't say that. No woman can let go of such an outstanding man like Mr. Everett. The people around them could not help but whisper and judge. Bruce frowned and ignored Roxanne's cries. He bent down and forcefully picked her up. Then, he stormed towards the underground parking garage. At the underground parking garage. Bruce, let go of me and let me die. If I die, no one will disturb you again, let alone stand between you. Bruce did not reply. He hugged her and stuffed her into the front passenger seat of the car. Bruce, let me out. Don't worry about me. Boo-hoo. Bruce took a deep breath. He looked at Roxanne coldly. Stop making a fuss. Roxanne cried. I'm not making a fuss. I'm serious about it. I'm willing to make room for my sister and let her have you. Bruce could not help but sneer when he heard that. 244. Chapter 128. She had already snatched Joanna's position. If she hadn't lied to him back then, he would never love her. Roxanne continued sobbing. I know you don't love me anymore. I can't accept the fact that you love my sister and you have a change of heart. I'd rather die than suffer like this. Facebook ads starter kit. Bruce, please don't make me feel so much pain again. I really can't take it anymore. This feeling is worse than death. Roxanne cried as she spoke. She constantly expressed her grievances and love for him. Bruce was not touched at all. Instead, the more he listened, the more disgusted he became. This woman was skilled at ensnaring men. She often wove webs to trap them completely. However, men were most afraid of being restrained. The more she wanted to trap him, the more he wanted to escape. Bruce interrupted Roxanne's crying and asked coldly, Roxanne, what happened to the car? Roxanne suddenly stopped crying upon hearing Bruce's question. Car? What car? Bruce, what are you talking about? Bruce lit a cigarette impatiently and took a deep breath. You know what I'm talking about. Who is that man? Boom. Suddenly Roxanne's eyes wandered and her face instantly heated up. She already had a guilty conscience. Now that Bruce asked this, she was even more flustered. Bruce, what are you talking about? Bruce narrowed his hawk-eye eyes. Who hit my car? Roxanne's heart skipped a beat as she stuttered. Bruce, hear me out. That day, I drove your car home. I happened to meet a classmate on the way, so I brought him along. He has never seen such a great car before. He wanted to try driving it, so. When Bruce heard this, he looked at Roxanne with a faint smile. Really, Bruce, you have to believe me. Nothing happened between me and that man. You are the only one I love. I didn't assume anything. Why are you so nervous? Seeing how visibly nervous she was, with her hands trembling and her voice quivering, Bruce started to have serious doubts about her. He could not help but be suspicious of her. I'll call Andy now and call that man out. When Roxanne heard this, she became even more flustered. She could not care less about being jealous of Joanna anymore. Bruce, you don't need to do that. He's just an ordinary classmate. It's okay. I'll call him out to confront him. Roxanne's heart ****** beat. She clenched her fists tightly and panicked. Her mother was right. She should have broken up with Gavin long ago. 10:44 Saturday the 24th of June. Chapter 128. Gavin was a disaster. In that case, call him up and prove my innocence. Bruce listened and stared at Roxanne. Roxanne tried her best to hold back her panic. She acted calmly as she looked back into Bruce's eyes. Bruce immediately called Andy. Andy, bring that man called Gavin to me immediately. Right away, Mr. Everett. Seeing that Bruce had made the call, Roxanne panicked even more. Bruce, do you not believe me? I couldn't believe that you would doubt me. You can stop loving me, but you can't insult me like this. I'm not insulting you. I want to know the truth. At that moment, Bruce hoped that Roxanne was in a relationship with. Seeing Bruce had found Gavin to confront him, Roxanne was frightened and uneasy. Bruce's face was covered with a layer of coldness. Why are you so nervous? I'm not nervous. Although Roxanne denied it, her heart was about to jump out of her throat. Bruce examined Roxanne with a sinister expression. Bruce, don't look at me like that. Do you not trust me? Roxanne's body went numb from his stare. As she spoke, her tears fell again. She looked weak and helpless. Bruce did not say anything else. He just smoked silently and waited. While waiting, Roxanne became even more uneasy. She wanted to find an opportunity to call or send a message to Gavin to warn him not to spout nonsense. Unfortunately, Bruce was watching her. She had no chance at all. Half an hour later, Gavin was brought to an office. There was a huge double-sided mirror in the office. Bruce and Roxanne were behind the mirror. They could see Gavin's every move. However, Gavin could not see them. Seeing Gavin, Roxanne's face turned pale. Her fingertips dug into her flesh uneasily. Bruce crossed his legs and quietly observed Gavin's every move through the double-sided mirror. With his status, he couldn't show up personally. He was the wealthiest man in Greenport. If word got out that his fiancée cheated on him with a poor kid, it would be too embarrassing. Therefore, he would leave it to his subordinates to ask. Even if they had an improper relationship, they would not make it public. However, someone like Bruce would not be willing to suffer in silence. In the office, Gavin looked at the few bodyguards in suits and leather shoes with cold expressions. He was so frightened that his mouth went dry and his scalp tightened. "May I ask why you brought me here?" There was a professional smile on Andy's face. "Oh, Mr. Tate, don't be nervous. I invited you here to briefly understand the situation." Gavin's gaze became even more uncertain as he stuttered, "Understand the situation. Have you seen this car before?" Andy turned on his phone and showed a photo of a Maybach to Gavin. When Gavin saw the car, he was so frightened that he panicked and broke out in cold sweat. "Why yes. 1044 SAT. Chapter 129. We checked through the dashcam and found that you were the one who drove the car and hit a tree. I didn't do it on purpose. Besides, the car has already been repaired." Andy frowned slightly. "Sir, the so-called repairs caused damage to the car again. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. Ads by Pub Future. The damage to the car is serious. It needs to be repaired at the original factory. The repair fee for this car is as high as $200,000. You have to compensate according to the price." "What? I don't have that much money. What kind of car is this? Why is the repair fee so high?" Gavin was completely anxious. He was already in debt. Now, he had to compensate for the repair costs. He might as well jump off a building. Andy's expression changed as he changed the topic. "So, we want to understand the situation back then. Why are you driving the car? What's your relationship with Ems Haynes? Why would she let you drive such an expensive car?" When Gavin heard this, his wandering eyes instantly froze. Come to think of it, this was a more serious problem than crashing a car. Everyone in Greenport knew that Roxanne was Bruce's fiancée. If she cheated on Bruce with him, the consequences would be even more terrifying than death. Behind the mirror, Roxanne looked at Gavin nervously. She was so scared that she did not even dare to breathe. Bruce could also see the nervousness and uneasiness in her eyes. There was definitely no innocence between her and this man. "Mr. Tate, please answer my question," Andy urged again. Gavin took a deep breath. "Roxanne and I are just classmates." He was not stupid enough to reveal his affair with Roxanne. After Gavin finished speaking, Roxanne clearly heaved a sigh of relief. "Classmate. If you are in a relationship with Ems Haynes, we can drop the compensation. We're really just classmates. Other than that, we have nothing to do with each other," Gavin said insincerely. Even though he denied it repeatedly, his expression had already betrayed him. "In that case, the responsibility is all on Ems Haynes, right? This has nothing to do with her. I saw that the car was luxurious, so I wanted to give it a try. I didn't expect this. I'm sorry." Gavin's mouth was dry, and he didn't dare to say anything to take responsibility. After all, he really could not afford to pay hundreds of thousands for repairs. Andy was about to continue asking when Bruce's voice came from the hidden earpiece. "That's enough. Let him go." Bruce was such a shrewd person. How could he not see that their relationship was abnormal? There was no need to ask further. Chapter 129. Andy received Bruce's instructions. He paused again and nodded at the mirror. "Mr. Tate, we've understood the situation. You can go back now." Gavin was speechless. He never thought that he would be let off just like that. Then, Andy ordered the driver to send Gavin back. Seeing that Gavin did not say anything, Roxanne's heart that was in her throat finally relaxed. "Bruce, do you believe me now? I have nothing to do with him." Bruce smiled faintly. "I was just asking casually. Don't be so nervous." Bruce knew that the evidence now was not enough to prove Roxanne's innocence. He feigned ignorance and intentionally let Gavin off the hook. Once he caught them in the act, he would have undeniable proof. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. When that happened, if he broke off the engagement, he would not have to worry about her seeking death. Even if she committed suicide, it would have nothing to do with him. Seeing that Bruce's expression softened a little, Roxanne quickly moved to his side. Her soft body leaned into his embrace, and her voice was coy and coquettish. Bruce, I don't want to go home tonight. I want to be with you. As she spoke, her small hand took the initiative to wander around his waist. Bruce choked. He raised his eyebrows slightly and scrutinized her with an ambiguous gaze as if he enjoyed her initiative. Seeing his reaction, Roxanne was even more encouraged. Her small hand unbuttoned his belt. Bruce, we've been in love for so long. I want to bring our relationship to the next level. What my sister has, I have too. What my sister can do, I can do too. Why must you be so infatuated with her? She's already given birth to a child. Could she be more charming than me? Roxanne said. Her eyes were like hooks. She did not believe that her charm could not compare to Joanna's. Back then, Bruce was also very impulsive towards her, as she winked at Bruce. But, at that time, she was bent on maintaining her image as an innocent girl. She deliberately pretended to be reserved and did not let him touch her. She wanted to satisfy his appetite first. She rejected him 3 times in a row and decided to give in on the 4th time. Unexpectedly, Bruce did not continue to pursue her after the 3rd attempt, and he never took the initiative again, no matter how much she hinted. He looked like he was no longer interested. Bruce did not resist Roxanne's initiative and looked interested. Roxy, you know it's hard for me to be impulsive. If you want to be with me tonight, you must take the initiative to light my fire. When Roxanne heard this, her eyes suddenly lit up. It was rare that Bruce didn't refuse her tonight, so she naturally had to perform well. 10:44 Saturday the 24th of June. Chapter 129. Bruce. Roxanne took the initiative to kiss his lips. Then, she took off her coat and stepped onto the sofa. Bruce did not take the initiative, nor did he refuse. He allowed her to do the work. 10 minutes later, Roxanne used all her skills and worked hard. Her eyes were dreamy, and her body was delicate and soft. As she thought Bruce would not restrain himself after she worked so hard. Bruce suddenly smiled and looked at her playfully. You did great. Roxanne's cheeks burned as she looked at Bruce awkwardly. But I'm not in the mood today. Let's do it another day, Bruce said. He buttoned his shirt, pushed her away, and stood up. He was only testing her. Unexpectedly, she was so experienced. Even though she pretended to be inexperienced, she unintentionally revealed her flaws. Women without that kind of experience would not understand men so well. When Roxanne heard this, her face turned red to the neck. She finally knew Bruce was testing her and did not want to touch her. Bruce, do you dislike me? Bruce glanced at her and praised her teasingly. Your figure is not bad. Your skills are also great. Unfortunately, I am exhausted today and can't lift my spirits. Put on your clothes. Don't catch a cold. Bruce threw Roxanne's clothes at her. Roxanne decided to go all out. She rushed and hugged him, trying to salvage the situation one last time. Bruce, let me accompany you tonight. I want to be your woman. I was too conservative in the past. I've already thought it through. I want to be your woman. Bruce smiled. He would never touch an extremely hypocritical woman like her. Hurry up and put on your clothes. I'll get Andy to send you back. Bruce. Roxanne bit her lips and looked at him with tears in her eyes. I don't want to go home. What do you want then? I want you to accompany me. Stop fooling around. I'm not in the mood today. Let's do it another day. You always say that. But in fact, you don't love me anymore. I know it now. You can say whatever you want. Bruce picked up the car key and left without looking back. Andy, send Haynes back. Okay, Mr. Everett. Bruce. Roxanne was furious. Unfortunately, Bruce had already left. Roxanne put on her clothes and chased after him. However, his car was no longer there. Haynes, let me send you back. Andy maintained a professional smile. Roxanne stomped her foot angrily. No need. I can walk on my own. At the hospital, it was already 10 o'clock at night. Joanna was still by Irwin's side, looking after him. She had also been running around the entire day and was extremely nervous. 10:44 Saturday the 24th of June. Chapt. 130. Seeing that Irwin had recovered, she could not help but lie on the bed and fall asleep. She took a nap in a daze and felt someone putting a piece of clothing on her shoulder. Joanna was shocked and quickly opened her eyes. She turned around and saw Bruce. At this moment, he was holding a suit and putting it on her. Joanna suddenly sat up straight. Bruce, why are you back again? Seeing how nervous she was, Bruce chuckled. You still owe me a bowl of noodles, so why can't I be back? Joanna frowned in frustration. This is a hospital. I can't make noodles for you. When are you going to make it for me? When my son recovers, I'll make it for you when I have time. Bruce chuckled. All right, I'll wait for you. There's nothing else here. You can go back now. When Bruce heard this, he raised his eyebrows and smiled. No, I want to accompany you here. I don't need your company. It's already so late. Hurry up and go back to sleep. Don't worry, I'll make the noodles that I promised you. You want to chase me away so badly. Don't you want to see me? Bruce spoke and stepped forward, hooking his arm around her slender waist. He pulled Joanna tightly into his arms. What are you doing? Don't touch me. What's wrong? Can't I even touch you now? You're crazy. Let go of me quickly. This is a hospital. Don't do anything rash here. Bruce smiled evilly and whispered into her ear. So I can do whatever I want after we leave the hospital. Are you crazy? Hurry up and let go. I'm exhausted. I don't have the energy to deal with you. When Bruce heard this, a trace of disappointment appeared in his heart. Joanna, are you tired of being with me? Can you not behave like this? You are putting me under a lot of pressure. Be my woman and enjoy my love for you, and you won't feel any pressure. When Joanna heard this, she grew angry and raised her voice. I don't need you. Please stay away from me, and don't say these things to me again. I just want to keep a distance from you now. Can you stop disturbing my life? Joanna's loud voice woke Irwin up. Irwin turned slightly and opened his eyes weakly. Mommy. Seeing that his son had woken up, Joanna could not be bothered to argue with Bruce. She quickly went to Irwin. Irwin, you're awake. Yeah. Irwin blinked and looked at Joanna tiredly. 10:44 Saturday the 24th of June. Chapter 130. Joanna stroked her son's head and said gently, Baby, are you hungry? Do you want to eat something? Irwin shook his head slightly. I'm not hungry. He had already been injected with glucose and was not feeling hungry. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? I'm just very sleepy. I want to sleep, and my head hurts. Be good. You've caught a cold. You'll be fine soon. Irwin nodded obediently. Okay. After answering, he blinked and looked sleepy again. Baby, eat something before you sleep, okay? You haven't eaten much all day. I'm worried about you. ... All right. Joanna sniffled and kissed Irwin's forehead. Baby, what do you want to eat? Mommy will buy it for you. I want to eat Mommy's handmade dumplings. When Joanna heard this, she felt a little troubled. We're in a hospital. How do I make dumplings for him? She thought. However, since her son wanted to eat them, she would find a way to make them for him. All right. I'll call Grandma now and ask her to make some. Yay. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. Then, Joanna covered Irwin with a blanket and left the ward. She wanted to call Miranda and ask her to go to the 24-hour store to buy chicken breasts and dumpling wrappers. Hearing Joanna's tone when she spoke to Irwin, Bruce suddenly felt a little jealous. How can she be so gentle to another man? He thought. Even though Irwin was her son, that wouldn't do. In her heart, she should prioritize him for everything. I want to eat dumplings too. When Joanna heard this, her eyes turned cold. Didn't you just say you wanted a bowl of noodles? Bruce chuckled. Dumplings sound tastier. I've changed my mind. I want some dumplings too. You are insane, Joanna cursed in a low voice and called Miranda. Hello, Miranda. Yes, Joanne. Go to the 24-hour store downstairs and buy chicken breasts and dumpling wrappers now. Irwin wants to eat dumplings. I'll make them later. No problem. Also, get Kelly to come to the hospital and take care of Irwin for a while. Sure. I'll tell her now. 10:44 Saturday the 24th of June. Chapter 130. Joanna said into the phone, "All right, that's all for now." Oh, okay. After the call, Joanna was about to enter the ward again when Bruce followed behind her. Bruce, can you stop following me so sneakily? I can't. I'm still waiting for the dumplings. I'm speechless. You were snatching food from a kid. Bruce shrugged. Well, why don't you make me a bowl of noodles instead? That'll work too. Joanna grew angry. I have already told you. Can't you wait for another day? Since you are already cooking later, couldn't you prepare my noodles too? After eating, I'll accompany you to look after Irwin. A sly smile appeared in Bruce's eyes. Joanna glared. I don't need your company. Go back now. Don't bother me here. When Bruce heard this, his expression immediately changed. He stretched out his arm and wrapped it around her waist. Ah, you being disobedient again. You know that I like obedient women. If you continue to be disobedient, I'll punish you. When Joanna heard this, she was speechless. However, she was helpless now. Do whatever you want. Give me a kiss then. I'm not in the mood. Can you go away? Bruce's face darkened. The smile on his face froze as he looked at her sinisterly. Joanna looked at his dark expression, and her heart subconsciously trembled. She hated Bruce, but the consequences of angering him were not easy to bear. Helpless, Joanna tiptoed and kissed him on the cheek. Seeing that she had given in, a smile appeared on Bruce's face again. 20 minutes later, Kelly arrived at the hospital. Miss Haynes, I'm here. Stay here and take care of Irwin. I'll go back and make him dumplings. I'll send them over later.